I know a lot of you are watching this and feeling stuck. You want a green card, but you're not married to a US citizen, nor do you have a sponsor to back you. But there may be still one option available that most people just don't realize. And not only can it help get a work permit, it can also put you on the pathway to citizenship and help you get a green card in about 5 years. So in this video, I'm going to break down why the usual green card options are not working and show you some options that still are. So what are the options for getting a green card by yourself without marriage? And which one is actually the best choice? Let's talk about it. One of the most common ways that people think of is through asylum. And what is asylum? It basically requires you to be persecuted in your home country, either by the government or by people that the government cannot control. But here is the problem. Most asylum cases must be applied to within 1 year of arrival into the United States. And most people miss this window. On top of it, getting a green card through asylum will usually take about 10 years. And right now, underneath this administration, denial rates of asylum are going up. They're dismissing thousands of older cases, charging fees, and if you are not approved, you're likely to be placed into deportation proceedings. Another common option which people think about is the U visa, which is for victims of serious crimes. But the U visa has a backlog of over 250,000 cases, and this backlog is growing every single year. So just like with asylum, you're looking at approximately a 15 to 20-year wait before you see a green card. And there are also reports right now of people being detained with the U visa application and process. And then there are options like EB-1A for extraordinary ability, the EB-2 national interest waiver, and the EB-5 investor visa. By definition, these only apply to a very small group of people who either stand out at the top of their field or who have a lot of money to invest. Most immigrants simply cannot meet these requirements. So if most of these options are either taking forever and getting worse, what is actually left? I'm not going to lie to you, this is not a long list. But there is one good option that most people do not know about. It was created by Congress and has now been a part of US law for decades. This means that the president cannot end this with the stroke of a pen. And it could get you a green card in 5 years or less without needing to be married, thereby putting you on a pathway to citizenship. But that's not all. On top of it, it could help you get a work permit while your case is still being reviewed. And this way, you may not have to wait for years before you're able to legally work. It can also help you get a social security card, and once your case is approved, it gives you the ability to travel outside the US. It can even grant status to your spouse and to your children, even if they are undocumented, and this way your whole family could be protected. And while your case is pending, you get special protection against deportation. This way, you're not just sitting here scared, wondering if someone is going to knock on your door. But what really makes this case special from others? It can forgive things that would normally block you from ever getting a green card. It doesn't matter if you entered the country illegally, you have the permanent bar, you have a false claim to US citizenship, or you have fraud or misrepresentation in your past. The truth is, most green card options do not allow for this. And perhaps most exciting of all, you do not need to leave the United States in order for this to work. So what am I talking about? The T visa. Now, I know a lot of people hear the name T visa and they don't know what it means, or they assume that it does not apply to them. But the truth is that this covers way more situations than you probably realize. The T visa is a form of legal protection Congress put in place for people who have been exploited, meaning someone has forced you to provide labor or services. So if someone has taken advantage of you for work, whether that work was at a job, at a place of employment, in a relationship with someone, or somewhere else, and they used fear or control to keep you in that situation, you may qualify. And these situations are a lot more common than you think. For example, if you ever worked at a job where your boss refused to pay you for all of the time that you worked, made you work extra hours without proper pay, would not let you take breaks, screamed at you, called you names, or threatened to call immigration or the police when you complain, these are actually signs of what is considered to be a severe form of human trafficking. A lot of people suffer through these things and think it's just part of the job and part of the life of being an immigrant. They think this is just how it is when you don't have papers. While that may be true, this is not just a bad job, and this could be the pathway to residency. And it is also not normal. If your boss is using your immigration status to keep you scared and keep you working, then this is exactly what this visa was created for. Now, here's another situation that most people don't realize can qualify. If you are in a relationship with someone and they do not have to be a US citizen, but they expect you to cook, clean, and basically serve them at their will, and if you don't do what they demand for you to do, they hit you, they get violent with you, they threaten you with deportation, or they force you to go to an outside job and hand over your money, this can also qualify for a T visa. You find yourself in this situation, ask yourself, do you feel like you are free to leave? Do you feel like you are free to say no? If not, then this is something that you should look into for yourself, because the law gives you the T visa as an option to protect yourself. You deserve to live with dignity. Another common situation is if you cross the border with the help of a coyote and they force you to do things such as cook for them, work construction, or worse in order to pay them back. And I want to talk about something that may be sensitive as well. In either of these two scenarios, if you were forced to have sex underneath threats of violence or other threats, then this too would also constitute you being forced to provide a service to them. Namely, this could be what is considered to be commercialized sex trafficking, and this would also qualify for a T visa. I want you to think of it this way. If you were forced to do anything underneath the threat of violence, and that thing involves providing some sort of work or service, then that is usually what can form the cornerstone of a T visa case. And it doesn't matter how long ago this happened. And it also does not matter if the person who did these things to you is even still alive, or if the business no longer exists, you may still qualify. We just got a case approved for a client whose case happened more than 10 years ago at a restaurant that has been closed for years. So don't count yourself out just because it did not happen recently. Now, if you think that you might be eligible for the T visa, what are some of the things that you need in order to qualify? Number one, you do need to be inside the United States. If you left the United States after the situation happened and you did not come back, then you may not qualify. But if you're still here, or you left and came back because of something to do with what happened, then you may still be eligible. Number two, there is a requirement to report what happened to a law enforcement agency. I know many people think that the reporting requirement is too risky or too dangerous. But fortunately, you do not have to go to the police. You can file, in many situations, a report with the Department of Labor, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and other local law enforcement agencies instead. And unlike the U visa, you do not need law enforcement to sign off on a certification, which means that you don't necessarily need law enforcement's approval or even agreement that you qualify for this case. All you need to do is to show that the report was made and that you continue to comply with all requests with the law enforcement agency. That's it. So don't let this part scare you. And number three, there is an annual limit of 5,000 approved T visas every single year. This limit, though, has never been reached, despite the fact that the majority of T visas do get approved. Now, how long will all of this take? Right now, the full processing time for the average T visa case is slightly over 2 years. But thanks to a newer rule that has gone into effect, many people are now eligible to get a work permit sooner before getting a final decision on their case. So you may not always have to wait the full 2 years before you get permission to work. Then, once your T visa is approved, you can file for a green card 3 years after the date of your approval. For this, you still have to show that you've been inside the United States continuously for those 3 years. And you must show that you have maintained your T visa status as well as have complied with any requests from the law enforcement agency. So from start to finish, from the time you file your T visa case until the moment that you can file your green card application, it is approximately 5 years. And then once your green card is scheduled for an interview and you're approved, you are on your way to becoming a U.S. citizen. If you think that you might qualify for the T visa and you want to find out, my name is Moumita Rahman, and T visa cases are what I do every single day. You can give my office a call for a case evaluation at 212-248-7907. Even though I'm based here in lovely New York, I work with cases all over the US. So don't be shy and give us a call. Now, if you want to put yourself in the best possible situation in order to get your T visa approved, then you need to watch my other video, the top 7 T visa secrets other lawyers won't tell you. In it, I share the most important things that most people don't know about the T visa, including what to do if you have no proof and insider strategies that could mean the difference between your case getting denied and getting approved. I'll include a link to that video here. Click to watch it next, and I'll see you there.